to finish our meetings. How were the committee meetings? Yeah? Did you get some things accomplished? Did everybody get some homework to take with them? No? Nobody got homework? Who got homework? Raise your hand if you have homework. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6? Out of 7.
Ready for the appointed time.
Yes, yes, that's part of my assignment too. Okay. All right. One night we had a home. How many of you were there? Travis was with me. God bless him. And Gloria. It was cold. It was uncomfortable. It was miserable. We couldn't sleep, which made for a perfect event. That was exactly what we wanted.
Oh, this year you didn't sleep in the park. You slept. Where'd you sleep?
We were in the parking garage, the new parking garage that the city built on Broadway. And it was because it was raining, because it was drizzling. So that's the reason we had it at the parking garage. And so it had a whole different set of barriers to sleeping. Hard concrete, bright lights, they wouldn't turn the lights off. Wow. And then the noise of the traffic outside that echoes inside the garage. So there were a lot of reasons why parking garage is not a good place. Other than to stay dry, that's really the only thing that's good about it. We had almost 90 individuals actually spend the night. Maybe 10 of them slept, but we had a lot of people there, so it was great. It was a good exercise. We added to the candlelight vigil this year. We added someone that played taps on the bugle. We had a Korean War veteran who played taps on the bugle, and it was unbelievable. It was very very touching. It was a powerful experience. Okay, so our conference is Friday. How many of you have registered? Okay. And the ones that haven't registered, are you planning on registering? Yes, and just haven't had a chance to? How many of you are looking at me going, what is happening on Friday? There's a conference? What? Okay, so go to our website to register. In the morning, we're going to be doing poverty simulation. The poverty simulation is going to be facilitated by Bernora Jones, who's right here. She's going to facilitate that. And then Roxanne May with the Department for the Elimination of Disproportionalities and Disparities is going to be doing the breakout, the debriefing of the poverty simulation. We're going to be talking about what poverty looks like in our community. What did our research show? What does the Census Bureau say the data is like, or the IRS, and what's being done about it. And so we're going to be talking about what we do here, what our committees are working on, what the baseline data was, what our action items are, the things that we've accomplished so far, and the things that we're working to accomplish. What's the impact in all of our lives, when 25% of our children are growing up in poverty? How can we work together to alleviate, prevent, and end poverty? That's our Bridges Out of Poverty framework concept that we're going to be adopting and implementing starting in January. The programs and services and initiatives in our community that address poverty. In the afternoon, we have an exercise called Find Help, an activity called Find Help. And what that means is that every participant is going to be given the role of an individual. And that individual whose role you play is a real person right here in Tyler. It's a real person right here in Tyler that's going to seek assistance from a real agency right here in Tyler. It is an activity, it is an exercise that's going to take an hour in the afternoon, but unlike a poverty simulation, it's going to be a real person going to a real agency. And then once you've gone to that agency and received the services or learned about those services, you're going to go back to your table and you're going to share that information with all the other people in your group. So we're really looking forward to that. How many of you read the research a couple of years ago that said when people are under stress, and they were talking specifically about people living in poverty, their IQ goes down 13 points. Right? Have you guys read about that, learned about that? It's staggering. Okay, so they did the research, and they were talking about poverty issues. It's really about trauma, and it's really about stress. It's what it's about. Dr. Paul Andrews, a local psychologist, and I this morning worked on developing a similar test to determine if our IQ is going to go down. We're going to be doing it during the poverty simulation. We're going to have a pre-test. Everyone's going to go through some words and so forth. It's not going to be a true IQ test, but it's going to be about making connections and remembering. And then in the throes of the poverty simulation, when you're really stressed because the employment office slammed the door in your face, you couldn't get to the food pantry in time, your kids are going to be hungry, CPS is knocking at the door. When you're in the throes of that poverty simulation, we're going to test you again and see how well you do compared to the way you did before the poverty simulation. So I'm excited about my little social experiment.
Low to begin.
Huh?
What if the IQ was low to begin?
It'll just be a little bit lower. So I just told you all of that. Who's making it possible? United Healthcare gave us a big chunk of money. Yay, United Healthcare. Tyler Independent School District, all the poverty simulations, all the planning is coming through them. Green Acres, their missions team, who's the one that brought to us their Getting Ahead network, and it's what revived in us, and those of us who were studying Getting Ahead, Bridges Out of Poverty. I think that had Andrea Horton not started that program and brought it to, she brought it to our community, she brought it back to us, and we started reading about it again, and it's the reason why Bridges is being adopted. So we have a great deal of gratitude for Andrea specifically and Green Acres, and also they're hosting our conference at Green Acres that normally would have been really, really expensive, and we're not having to pay to have it at that location. And of course, then there's us. How do you like my handy-dandy button?
Very nice, very nice. I noticed.
Yeah. So TISD made a few buttons for us, and it's for the organizers during the conference. We'll be wearing our little button at the conference. Okay, we have about 120 people registered right now. We have the capacity to have 1,000 because it's the Green Acres big space, right? There are still a lot of people out there that haven't heard about it. All of our marketing has been through social media, and it has been good, and through all of our agencies, and through the mass emails that have gone out. But there are probably still people out there that that would be interested in learning this, and that you've not had a chance to talk to about the conference. So there's still time. It's Friday. The conference is Friday. So do think about who is it in your circle of friends and family and church and coworkers that you believe would be interested in this, and reach out to them and let them know to go online and to register for this. And then when you get the emails from me, just forward them. Put them on Facebook, Twitter, all your little social media stuff. Just send it all out there. Like a virus, right? Isn't that what social media is? So we want you to cough on everybody. So they all get it. They all get the bug.
I don't think you mentioned, in the afternoon, you still having the thing for the employers?
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mention it. That's right. In the afternoon, at the same time as the Find Help exercise, Phil Duvall, who wrote the books, is going to be meeting with employers, business owners, HR professionals, to talk to them specifically about the strategies that they can use to implement the Bridges Out of Poverty in their places of employment with their employees. So we believe that having employers adopt the bridges along with us that are in social services are the two lowest hanging fruit that are going to give us the greatest bang for our buck. It's going to be really impactful. So he's going to be meeting specifically with employers, HR professionals, to talk about how to implement bridges through employment.
And have they registered it? Are you pleased with how many employers you're going to get?
We have about 30 people registered for that specific session, but we can always use more. We have hundreds and thousands of employers out there. The employers that have the greatest numbers of employees, the hospitals, the universities, Walmart, Brookshire's, they're the ones that we really need there. Absolutely. Right now I don't have anyone from Brookshire's that's registered. I have a couple of others that I've just mentioned. We're working with the Business Education Council, which is part of the Chamber of Commerce, and they're promoting it. And so that's how we've been able to get some. And then Leadership Tyler is providing for us, the volunteers, for the poverty simulation. All of us who went through Leadership Tyler from class 18 until now, and now they're in class 28, so for the last 10 years, all of us went through a poverty simulation. So those individuals that went through poverty simulations are trained, are being trained to help us conduct it this time, Leadership Tyler. So they've been very helpful as well. We have our point-in-time homeless survey and count coming up in January 22nd. Many of you have participated in the past. I will be sending out information to all of you to learn more about what it is and how it works and how you can be a part of it. But if you want to pencil into your calendar now, Thursday, January 22nd, 11:30 to 12:30, and then a break, then again from 4 until 7:30. You'll actually be interviewing individuals that are experiencing homelessness. That's what this event is, okay? And this came from Karen. Where's Karen? I put both of your slides up here. Do you want to add something to this? Will you tell us what it is?
Well, basically, that's next Tuesday. I have flyers if anybody wants it when they come out. But Health and Human Services, as many of you know, we've had all of the Star Plus rollout and the change in the health care. And in particular, they're going to be here from Austin to really get feedback from family members, advocates, caseworkers, anyone that assists individuals that have intellectual or developmental disabilities. They really want to hear from you on how that whole transition has gone and provide feedback. So if you're an agency that assists individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities, they want you there, family members, anyone. So just put that on your calendar. It's going to be in Longview, 9 to noon.
And then this other one.
And that's tomorrow. Texas Respite Coalition, Community Health Corps actually received a respite grant to provide additional respite in our area. And they're hosting a forum tomorrow to get input. The Texas Respite Coalition, they want input from our area on how we can better provide respite for our community. This is really important because when we have individuals that are elderly and or disabled and those caregivers and family members really need a break, we do not have near enough respite, so they're willing to pour money into our community, so we need to provide them with feedback on that.
Right.
So
And when you say our area, it includes Smith County?
it does include Smith
Okay.
County, that is
So
correct.
it's tomorrow, it's in Longview.
Yes, from 10 to 11:30. Both events will be at Community Connections.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, get out a sheet of paper. Does it sound like it's a quiz? I'm a math teacher. Saying, it's a quiz, it's a quiz. You have to go? Okay, see, as soon as the quiz starts, Judith gets up to leave. Thank you for coming.
Go meet the city manager.
Oh, I'm going to that too. It's from 4 to 6, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I have a free meeting.
Oh, you get to check them out?
No, I'm just got all the school on it.
Oh, good. All right, guys.
Those of us who are paperless.
For those of you who are paperless, you're going to have to email it to me. Okay. All right, so here we go. What have you learned through the East Texas Human Needs Network? What have you learned through the East Texas Human Needs Network?
You don't want to say crap.
Have you used our data or information for your work? And if so, how have you used that? What agencies or services have you learned about through ETXHNN? I'm going too fast or too slow, the questions are on the screen. If appropriate, have you helped your clients in different ways because of relationships that you developed here through ETHNN? Have you changed the way you serve your clients? And if so, how have you changed the way you serve your clients? For those of you who are brand new, this is an easy quiz because it's blank, 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 blank. Right? For those of you who have been here a long time, you're like, you're going too fast. I can't write it all down. Okay. How long have you been participating with the East Texas Human Needs Network? We started in August of 2012. We've met every single month since then. Always on the second Monday in this location. After you come to one of these meetings, do you report back to supervisors or to co-workers? Or do you report back to anyone? Do you share this information with anyone? What you learned, a conversation you had, actual data? Are you sharing what you're learning with others? What would you change about ETHNN? What would you change? What is it that you find frustrating or ineffective that we're doing that you would like to see done differently? What's good about ETHNN? And then the last question is, what would you say to someone who wants to know more about ETHNN? And the answer is not go to the website. So what would you say to someone who wants to learn more about ETHNN?
Call Christina.
Call Christina. Go to the website.
Give out your cell phone number.
Everybody has it. It's been on the internet.
You're welcome.
It's been on the internet for years. My cell number. Okay, I'm going to move on. The things that we've done. In January, we did a point-in-time survey like the one we just said we're going to do in January, right? So we did it last year, and because of it, the City of Tyler was able to garnish 25 HUD VASH, which means veterans in our community have housing vouchers, 25 permanent housing vouchers for veterans because of the data we collected and sent through the state to Washington. That's what happens when we do that study. The other thing that happened is that in our community, 3 agencies working collaboratively are working on homelessness research, homelessness outreach, prevention, and rapid rehousing. That happened because of the study that we did. February, we presented collective impact to a group of community members. We found a group of community members that we thought were really influential and open to the ideas of collective impact and the work of the East Texas Human Needs Network. And we had a presentation for them in February. And as a result, we developed for our community a Partnership for Education campaign that includes all of the school districts, the universities, and people in the private sector, people in business, people in government, all of us working collectively on a Cradle to Career campaign, a framework, Cradle to Career. So it's focusing on education. But it came as a result of this meeting in February that we held. In March, we started looking at our data, looking at the real details of our data, and we came up with our strategic plan that was based on that information. We started developing our goals, our objectives as a result of that. In April, we conducted a poverty simulation. So about 80 people learned more about poverty in April. In May, we conducted a Bridges Out of Poverty training. In June, we created a vision statement for every one of our committees. In July, our 211 East Texas updated their search interface because of the work that we were doing with them. In October, we finalized the goals, the objectives, part of that strategic plan. Many of you have already accomplished a great deal towards those action items. In November, we had that very miserable cold night, one night without a home. And we had about 90 people, like I said, spend the night, but we had a lot more people who started out with us and who were there for the program. So about 130 people probably know a lot more about the issues of housing and homelessness than before. And then in December, on Friday, we're going to have this conference, and hopefully we will reach at least 150 people to teach them about poverty, about local issues, and about how to change it, how to make a difference. Updates. I think Candace has a very important update to give us. So we're going to go through the room and get some agency updates.